Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so fantastic, and that's partly because of our incredible sponsor, Executive Help Now, your premier partner to private equity funds and portfolio companies delivering operational excellence through embedded virtual teams, cutting-edge technology, and deep industry expertise that scales with ambition. From streamlining operations and managing your back office to producing podcast shows and keeping everything organized, our team is here to help you thrive. If you're ready to make life just a little bit easier, hit us up at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, today's guest, I'm so beyond excited to have today's guest. Today's guest is Kim Avant Babb, and she is a real estate developer, educator, and community builder with over 4 decades of experience. Since 1994, she and her husband have led Babb Properties LLC, a New Jersey-based firm redeveloping residential properties in Philadelphia with a 0% eviction rate spanning more than 40 years. Y'all, that is just simply unheard of. In 2020, Kim launched Legacy Real Estate Consulting to help small landlords and property owners operate efficiently, boost profits, and build generational wealth through coaching and education. A former chief strategy officer of the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, Kim also spent 23 years in state government advancing urban redevelopment and community revitalization. Y'all, put your hands together for Kim Avant Babb. Hey,
How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am so blessed is amazing. And I love saying that every time I'm asked because I am blessed.
Yes. Oh, and I am blessed that you have allowed us some time in your schedule to chat with us and our audience about everything real estate. And I have to give a shout out to the young man who introduced us.
Yes.
His name is Jerome Lewis, and he truly is a matchmaker of matchmakers. Mm-hmm. He's also out of Philadelphia, and him and Kim spend time together doing I don't know if I should say doing deals together. That might be
in that real estate space.
That real estate space, yes. And Jerome was kind enough to have me on his show. And once he got to know me and what we do here at Executive Help Now, he was like, oh, you've got to meet Kim. Kim is somebody you have to know. And I was so grateful to Jerome for that introduction, because that was, probably back earlier this year that he introduced us. And then we actually got to meet face to face in July here in Atlanta, have some breakfast. And how awesome was that? Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I enjoyed it.
And so, I want to insert a thank you and recognition to you after that wonderful initial connection for nominating me for the ICABA Black Business Month 100 Global Award that I was just in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, receiving. So thank you so much, Rena,
Yes.
for nominating and for also being honored yourself. How about that?
Yes, my one of our team members was kind enough to nominate me. I'm so grateful to her. That was truly an honor, and just to be included among that lineup of people, I'm like, what?
I was emotional and humbled and just grateful to be in that lineup of honorees from all over the world. From all
Yes,
over the world.
yes. One of the guys actually flew in from Dubai,
Yes.
stopped there at the event to get his award, and then had to keep on moving on right after the event to, I think he was going to Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere. Anyways, he's a busy executive who was getting honored, and it was truly a wonderful opportunity to kind of just get to know new names and see new faces. And I'm so glad that you got to be there in person. How fantastic. I'm so excited for you. And just in case people don't know, ICABA is truly a fantastic company whose mission is to elevate and accelerate Black professionals who are wanting to have a network of individuals to do business with, and just build out their community of resources to have in their back pocket. Because, the more people you know, the more beneficial you can be to somebody else. Especially, and I'm a firm believer that referral networking is absolutely one of the best ways to build your business, because the more people you get to know, or I get to know, the more I have at my disposal to be able to refer to somebody else. Because if I don't get out there and talk to people, I never learn about people and what they have to offer. And so the more I learn about other people, the better referral partner I can be, right? Because that's the way you've seen it as well.
Absolutely. I believe in, I quote this on socials and in conversation, you got to get in the room. I need you to be in the room. And to your point, your network is really a resource. Typically, it says your network is your net worth, but it's really a resource and a community and a village. And to also add the power of ICABA and being in that particular room is confirming that we are achievers. We are amazing achievers. And the example of the other honorees from all around the globe is a living and also a past example of how awesome we are.
Yes. And how much more awesome we are together.
Yes.
Together. That's the key, I think. There's so many other communities who do things together, and they're quite successful because they support one another. We want the same for us. And so that's absolutely the platform, or that the organization to be a part of, to do majorly massive and impactful things together.
Agreed.
Yeah, 100%. So we have that in common. So I'm so excited for both of us receiving those honors and being a part of one another's journey since that amazing introduction by Jerome all those months ago. So and now we get to have you on the show and learn more about you, how you got to where you are, how you created this incredible statistic for yourself that is just unheard of in terms of the 0% eviction rates. But before we go there, I would love to learn more about you, like how you grew up. Did you come from a 2-parent family? Was it was real estate in your blood? How did you get started?
So yes, born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where our real estate portfolio is. We transplanted to southern New Jersey about 20 minutes from Philadelphia almost 30 years ago. So I say, when I'm asked that question, where are you from? I'm from Philly. However, I sleep in South Jersey, but my roots are in Philadelphia. And, grew up in a 2-parent household up until I was about 13, and my parents separated. How I got into real estate was when I met my husband like 45 years ago. while my parents typically owned our primary home, it wasn't until I met my husband and his family, his mom in particular, that I was exposed to rental properties as an investment. And we got married, and it took his mother 10 years to convince us to start investing in real estate because we weren't focused on that. We had bought our primary home, raising a family, starting our careers, just doing what young couples do, digging a deep hole of debt and partying on the weekends. Mom Babb, I say her name whenever I can, the late Estella Babb. I call it the motherly nudge. It took her 10 years to nudge us, to convince us, not with a silver spoon, but with the reveal that she had squirreled away on a college-educated factory sewer's salary, $14,000 of an inheritance for her son, and that she would give that to us to buy our first investment property. And that was back in the mid-1990s. That was the strike of the match of how we started investing in real estate. And then the why presented itself even stronger after we bought that first rental property. And the why of continuing to leverage that was three things primarily. Number one, as is happening today, we were laid off from our jobs, not once, not twice, but three times. And when your personal economy is eviscerated and interrupted like that, it really affects you, right? Psychologically, emotionally, financially. So that was one of our whys. The second why was we had children, always encouraging them to seek higher education. That sounds cute, but college costs a lot of money. So how are we going to pay for it? And then thirdly, what happens if we get to retirement and Social Security is not there? So those were the three reasons that really motivated us to leverage our 9-to-5s and buy assets.
Wow. Well, first of all, hats off to your mother-in-law. I want to just give her a hand clap of praise because, that is wisdom in sharing this knowledge with you and was so patient with you as you guys continue to navigate your young lives being couples and then finally coming to that realization that, look, life is about more than what we're currently doing. And if we're going to leave legacy for our kids, if we're going to be more in control of what happens to our life, be so hinged to what happens in our jobs, then we have to do something different. And so I'm pretty sure of all of the decisions that you made in your life, this is one that you look back on with a lot of pride.
Absolutely, 120%. And we'll talk about that more in the conversation. But we have, over those 4 decades, I use the garden analogy. We spent time planting the seeds of real estate and watering and weeding and growing those seeds, so much so that now we're at retirement. We are walking in our victory garden because we've spent dedicated, intentional time just, growing that motherly nudge and that investment in us to build wealth and generational wealth.
Wow. And what impact do you think it had going into business with your husband? Like, has that shaped the business over the years, the two of you doing it together?
It has shaped the business. I've allowed him to live. No. Being in business and married, we just celebrated our 41st wedding anniversary this year. That's a milestone.
That truly is an accomplishment. We need more hand claps for that. Yeah. Marriage is hard. Oh my word. Marriage can be so hard. And to keep it together for 41 years? Oh, yes.
Yes. So we've been together for 45, but married for 41. So layer on that, being in business together. It has not always been a smooth ride. Just on the relationship side, because, marriages take work, and then you layer the business into it. We haven't always seen eye to eye. I think one of the benefits for us as a couple is that we met as artists, right? So we both have vision as it relates to not only seeing things how they are, but the potential of what they can become. And
Right.
so when you connect that to real estate, we both were on the same page of buying the ugliest house on the block, right? And we could see the vision based on our financial investments of what it could become. So that was a plus, but there was a lot of, conversation, headbutting, compromising, agreeing to disagree, letting things cool off for a minute, coming back to it.
Mhm.
On our business. I would say there was a lot of growing pains, but the last probably decade and a half, it has been a smooth sail for us
Wow.
because we have seen the fruits of our labor and gone through the bumps and the bruises and the conflict and the disagreement and the smoothing out of the combination of being married and in business.
Yeah. Wow. It is so challenging, number one. And Tiana Bennett says, wow, 41 years. Yeah, she's like me, like holy camole. That so proud of you for that. Because in just a regular marriage, there's all of the compromise and ups and downs and working through and hearing and disagreeing and agreeing to disagree and then coming back together to kind of talk through and trying not to go to bed mad at each other and that sort of thing.
And pillow talk. Don't talk about the pillow talk now.
Exactly. And all the pillow talk that goes on top, no matter if you had an argument or not.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, you layer on top of that you now have this business to run. And it's a business that has so many decisions to be made along the way. Like, is this a property we're going to invest in? You guys have to come into an agreement on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's not agreement and one says, oh, yeah, I love this, well, I think we should. And the other one says, no, we shouldn't. Then there's that added dynamic to the marriage, and disagreements that have to get resolved. And then, figuring it all out along the way. And I love that you guys had in common that you're artists. And so, and if I understand correctly, you were the type of artist you were. Remind me, because
we're both visual artists. My husband,
visual,
visual artists, painters. I'm a retired fashion designer, so I've morphed my visual art into fashion. That light turned off probably about 10, 15 years ago. So yeah, both visual artists, both creatives, and that really helped us on this journey.
Yeah, and I bring that up because, and Ariel says how wonderful it is to have someone to share your journey with. Absolutely. And when you both have this eye that can see what's not there,
Mm-hmm.
that really, I think, kind of helps smooth things out, because that is a common thread that you have where you can each share the vision that you see in your own eyes. And it's easy for you to catch it because you share that same type of eye because of being a visual artist. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I agree. What we also have to sprinkle into that is our different personalities, right? And our different skill sets. I worked in corporate most of my career beyond the 23 years that you mentioned. My husband is very much a craftsman. He's a tinkerer. He's a troubleshooter, right? And so while we both have vision, I'm always thinking numbers, strategy, marketing, return on investment, right? And he is the craftsman. He wants to, put this in and that in and the lights. And I'm saying, okay, what's the budget? What's the number? So it's been a push and a pull, especially in the earlier chapters of our life. For example, we brought our investment properties through sheriff sales, through foreclosures, private purchases. We had 2 properties that we brought, is always we, but you ever been to an auction and that paddle just gets out of control? I'm like, put the
stop raising that thing.
The properties that we purchased, him in particular was there, that sat on our books for 10 years. That we really just had to maintain. They were vacant. They needed full gut rehabs. Our finances were focused in another part of the city. And after a decade, I said, damn it, like, what are we doing here? I know it was a purchase, but they've become a liability.
Right.
And it became a conversation that we had to have in reference to what we were going to do. And we ultimately agreed and decided to donate those properties to a nonprofit to get them off of our books and focus elsewhere.
Wow. So then it was a twofold blessing then, to be able to do that, to bless somebody else with not one, but two houses.
Correct.
And that doesn't happen that often, that someone actually gives away a whole house. So thank you for that philanthropic heart that you have to bless others in that way. And then you were able to have better looking books because this wasn't, holding you back anymore.
Exactly.
So I love that. So one of the things that really intrigued me when we were having our meeting, no, it was actually during one of our first conversations on the phone. And you shared with me that there's a secret sauce to this 0% eviction rate in 41 years. And so I would love for you to share with our audience what that secret sauce is and what values help you maintain that 0% eviction rate for more than 4 decades.
It's definitely a blessing that has become natural to us. And to be honest, full disclosure, we didn't realize that we hadn't had any evictions until about maybe 10 years ago. And it was like, you know what, we've never had an eviction here. And then we started leaning into analyzing why. And I want to say it's based on our business standard of working with integrity and good character and good morals as business owners, right? That's the standard that we set. So when we go out into the market, we have a property available. We are looking for on-site property managers, that's what I call our tenants, who have the same standard of integrity, morals, and good character. I say, I'll find the money later. I'm looking in your soul. I need to figure out who I'm doing business with. And that's how we lead that screening process of looking for good charactered individuals, those with integrity. We have a situation right now with a tenant who was with us for a year, wonderful family. They signed a 2nd-year lease. And 2-3 months in, they announced that they had to move to the West Coast because of a job situation. Fast forward, a lease is a contract, right? So you've got a 1-year contract that you're skipping out on after 3 months. The integrity of this couple is that they want to make sure that our company is whole, right? They cleaned the property, it was pristine. They left the keys on the kitchen counter, and we have negotiated financially where both of us are whole. Those are the kind of individuals that we attract based on our company standards and who are in our tenant community.
Wow. That is so amazing. And I remember too, and kudos to that couple, because there's so many, I know that there are a lot of people in real estate who are watching this episode, and I'm sure many have stories that they can tell about tenants from hell that gave them the blues. And so it truly does make a difference, the steps that you take before allowing them the keys to your assets. That's what you said.
And you said it right. You said it right. When I teach, when I coach, I say explicitly, a stranger is asking for the keys to your asset that you have poured blood, sweat, tears, and resources in. I encourage you to take that very seriously. We have the 8 steps to screening a rental applicant, which I correlate to marriage. I really do. I go through the 8 steps as if you're courting, which is, the screening process. The lease is the prenup. The key is the ring. I go through that to try to impart on housing providers and landlords that this is a marriage. When you sign that contract with your tenants, it's a relationship. So just like I'm married for 41 years, the viewers are in relationships. I want to hope that you have been very, conscious of the individual that you are are spending time with. And we take that same approach to screening our tenants and our applicants. And we rolled the dice based on the system and came out on top.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. And there's a comment from Credit Legacy from Facebook. She's excited to hear how vision, strategy, and purpose can shape communities and create lasting wealth. She's looking forward to learning more about smart property management and building legacies. So thank you so much for that comment. Create Legacy. Is the poster of that comment. So I know that, Kim, you have a ton of wealth to share when it comes to the strategies that you have in place for building legacy and creating a business model that is solid, that is just like almost foolproof, because you've created the checklist. It's like, just check the boxes. If you can't check one of these boxes, maybe this isn't the best deal for you or the best tenant for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I also say when I speak to landlords is that landlording is a skill set. Property management is a skill set. And you really need to look inwardly to determine if you have those skills or not. If you are deficient in certain areas, either bolster them or bring on team members who can fill that gap, but also recognize your zone of genius, right? And I think it was about 10 years ago when it really dawned on me that we have systems that other people can use. And it was really triggered by my husband coming home from work, asking for a blank copy of our lease, a blank copy of our application, like over and over again, right? And I am the corporate person, right? I've created all the checklists, all the documents, all the contracts. And after he repeatedly was asking me over time, I said, obviously we have something that that landlords need. And in my stratosphere somewhere, I heard the Microsoft bundle. I said, daggone it, we have a landlord bundle here based on the landlord checklist bundle, the leases, and all the documents that I personally have designed. And I decided to take it to market. My husband was questionable. I said, case in point, they keep asking for it. So I created it, and there you have Legacy Real Estate Consulting was born 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Wow. And I personally can say, like, from our first conversation, I shared with you that I'd been kicking around this idea of becoming, a property owner and a real estate investor. And I said, but I think I might be too soft. Like, I hear a sob story and then I'll just give them the keys to the assets. And you said, like, absolutely not. There are things that you need to do. And so you need to take an assessment of what kind of person are you? Are you landlord material?
Yes.
Are you built for this? Because this is a whole nother thing when it comes to landlording.
And I also say to my clients that you have to agree to be schizophrenic, right? You have to be multiple personalities, right? You could have to be a borrower today if you're going to the bank for financing, a maintenance person. We painted and cleaned more than a few properties years ago. We don't do that now. A good cop, bad cop, a creditor, because you become a creditor when you're providing a product that someone is paying for. So you have to be able to, a bookkeeper, all sorts of things that you have to determine if you have the skills to move in and out of those roles or not.
Right. And if you don't have the skills, do you have resources available around you who can help you in those areas or bolster you in those areas? Like Executive Help Now, for the shameless plug.
Exactly.
All right. And Tiara also Bennett also says, I'm with you on that one. Renee, I'm definitely not out for landlord life.
And this is what I say to that, and that's okay, right? But what we know is 90% of millionaires have real estate investments, right? Everybody is not cut out to be directly involved. And as I just taught in my recent wealth building and landlording like a pro boot camp in September, there's 29 different ways that you can invest in real estate. So it doesn't have to be hands-on. It doesn't have to be rental properties. It can be a variety of ways to invest directly or indirectly. However, if you do want to own rental properties and you don't want to be hands-on and you want to hire a property manager, I not only teach landlords how to manage their rental properties, but also how to identify, vet, screen, and manage your property manager. There is no, in my opinion, set it and forget it in hiring a property manager. At the end of the day, your name is on the deed of that asset. So you have to be responsible. You have to have a level of understanding. I encourage you to be an educated consumer so that you can keep that property manager in check. I coach more than a few people who have been through 2 and 3 property managers from hell, like tenants from hell, property managers from hell. And we as housing providers are expected to know the law and the requirements and the regulations and the certification. So I would encourage you to educate yourself to a level so that you know the right questions to ask your property manager. You know what they need to be doing to be in check and on top of things. And so you're not caught out there because you are expected to know.
That's right. And ignorance is no, what do they call it? Ignorance is no justification for breaking the law or something like that.
No.
Right. You have to know. And I didn't even think about like the property managers not being, qualified to manage properties. But I think that's also a part of your bundle, right? It's like, how do you vet the property managers to make sure that they know what they're talking about and that they're going to be a good fit for you, and the properties that you have and the tenants that you have. So would you get a property manager? I'm almost feeling like there's a chicken and egg type scenario here. Do you get property managers that suit your tenants or tenants to suit your property managers, or is there no relationship?
You get property managers that suit your business standards. The tenants are a byproduct. Okay. That property manager is a representative of my business. You're on the front line with marketing my asset, with screening applicants, with making a determination if those applicants are suitable or not. I teach my clients this. You're the writer, the director, the producer, and the actor. This is your show. This is not your property manager show. So you need to interview that property manager and relay standards of business operations that you have to see if they can embrace that or if it's reflected in their business so that you can be a partner. We have to think about the motivations of property managers, the motivation of an investor. They're different, okay? Property managers are in and out, meaning, they're marketing, they're finding a tenant, they're placing a tenant, they get paid and they're out. If they're in, for a duration where they're collecting rents, sending you a check, then it's a little longer relationship. So you have to pick wisely and know the questions to ask to determine if they can handle your projects, if they have the standards, the communication skills, the reporting mechanisms that you feel comfortable with. Have them be your representative of your asset.
Right. That's really smart. And I equate that, since I'm not a property owner, but I know it's a business, and anyone who's in a business has to know how to pick the right vendors, pick the right suppliers, pick all the right things. And so it's really great that you have these resources available to help them navigate that. Because if someone is like me and they're new in this space and they're thinking about, is this for me? For you to have all these resources to help me answer that question is just golden. And I'm so grateful. And I know our audience is too, to know that you put in the work, and that the work is based on your own experiences. You've had over 4 decades of experience. You've seen it all, probably. So you come with some authority and credibility because you not just talking about it. You've been through it, and what works what doesn't work, what to look for, different dead giveaways, red flags.
Yeah, yeah, yes. You're
Oh,
right. And I say and I embrace the concept after firing my 9 to 5 5 years ago that I've gone from my career to my calling with legacy
wow.
real estate consulting. I'm very passionate about pouring from my full cup because our cup is full. Our blessings have been just abound. So with legacy, I'm pouring from my cup because I want you to be successful. I want to be an example of what's possible, but I want you to have the right tools and the right resources, the right mindset, the right psychology and system. So that's my motivation. That's my why.
Wow.
And I get up every day just pouring in as much as I can because, wealth building is real. My mother-in-law, the late Stella Babb that I referenced earlier, she was our family's financial revolutionary.
Wow.
What is a revolutionary? Someone who doesn't just make change, but makes drastic change, that breaks the cycle, right? And she was our family financial revolutionary. So we have received that baton. I want as many people, in that I'm able to touch and they want to do this real estate thing to be successful. So success leaves clues. I want to leave as many clues as possible and hope that you latch on, embrace it, remain teachable, and grow your wealth.
Awesome. I love that so much. And John Paul says that this couldn't have come at a better time. My dad's heading out to check a property tomorrow morning. I'm sharing this episode with him. Thank you, John Paul. Yes, this is a wealth of knowledge here, golden nuggets throughout the whole show. So yes, thank you for sharing, John Paul. And that kind of leads me to then, Kim, to my next question, which is more about the core values, not only that helped you maintain this 0% eviction rate, but how legacy real estate consulting came to life. And what gap did you see in filling for small landlords, like who are just getting started?
Well, as I mentioned, legacy real estate consulting came about after I realized that we have a wealth of knowledge to share and, it can benefit others, right? So I wrapped a business around that, coupled with all the systems and tools and resources that we have. What I also am intentional about is getting into rooms. We are members of a lot of different local, regional, and national real estate organizations. When I talk to housing providers, because I do promote, our company at different real estate expos. So I'm coming in contact with a lot of different investors at various stages, right? And I hear one-on-one the deficiencies, the struggles, the frustration that landlords and investors are having out here. Now, what I also say when we talk about real estate investing, there's a lot of sexiness on the front end of acquisition, gut rehab, finding contractors and vendors, picking finishes and beautifying the property. If you're in the rent and hold space, there is very little, minimal focus and consideration on property management. It's an afterthought. It's an afterthought. The project is done. Now I got to get a tenant because I have this debt. I got to pay this mortgage. I got to pay this hard money lender. And then you say, okay, I need a tenant. I believe that effort and education needs to go into that property management piece, because if the property is not cash flowing with a viable on-site property manager, which is your tenant, then that property becomes a liability. It becomes a headache, and it is not performing as it's designed. So I believe that you really need to hone your skills on property management, the laws, the requirements, so that you are benefiting fully from that investment, and not only with the cash flow, but with the tax benefits.
Wow. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that in just a second. But as you're talking about the overlap between getting a property ready and getting somebody put in, and then somebody put in to manage it seems like is there a formula for how long it should take you to get a property ready once you've received money, hard money, and you have to pay it back, how long should it take you to rehab that project before you're able to pay it back? And how long should it be before you actually get somebody in once it's done, so that you're not underwater immediately from taking out this loan?
That's a great question, but there's too many variables to say, okay, it's going to take you 3 months, it's going to take you 6 months. There are too many variables involved. Each project is unique within itself. Finding that capital stack is unique within itself to what, you know, your financial situation is, what your acumen is around financing projects, the location of that property, right? There's so many variables. There is not a silver bullet to say it should take you 3 months and you should have a tenant in there. You put it on the market and you get a viable tenant within 10 days. It varies. It really, I don't have a direct answer for that, because it's like an attorney answer. It all depends.
Okay. I had to ask, because I'm like, okay, if there's the formula, I can do formulas. You know,
like the best case scenario, you know, the best case scenario. So we have gone from, because my husband and partner is an all-around craftsman, he can build a house from the ground up. However, I say I want it in my lifetime and with my sanity. So we have gone from him working his 9 to 5, this is years ago, and basically rehabbing the whole property. It might take 2-3 years to fast forward. And this is when those sticky conversations and the headbutting comes in. Okay, but we can hire a general contractor and they can bring their crew in and get it done in 3 months. We can get it to market and start this cash flowing. That was definitely debris on the road in our journey of being in business and married. So it really all depends on how you're approaching that project.
Wow. And that kind of is a great lead in too to how your government experiences help shape your leadership style, because even though you're working with your husband, you still have leadership and impact, influence on these different things. So do you believe that your experiences working in government has shaped your leadership style, and how has that style worked? Well, y'all are still married, so it must work well.
Well, I have been tremendously blessed to have a horizontal career journey, right? And it's not just the government, the last 23 years of my career that really shaped me. So when you think about my career, I've worked in academia. I worked at the University of Pennsylvania as a purchase agent and manager of their minority women business outreach to get them contracts, you know, at the University of Penn. I worked in transportation at the Southeastern Transportation Authority, doing contract compliance, certifying minority and women-owned companies to get access to the billions of dollars of transportation funds. And then I went to the state of New Jersey, working in redevelopment, community galvanizing around projects, underwriting deals. The last 13 years I spent as an entrepreneur, building a training institute within the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, teaching redevelopment. So all of those experiences really poured into who I am. Think about it. I had a procurement career, so I'm comfortable with sourcing vendors and negotiating contracts and working in groups, leading groups, being in group dynamic situations, supervising, developing policy. So all of my career experience has really prepared me for where I am today. I also say that my career was the macro, right, of my life and my building my skills that we poured into the micro business of Babb Properties that we built over 4 decades. I encourage individuals out here who are considering investing or even starting a business, don't quit your day job. Right. Don't quit your day job. Keep the day job and leverage your day job to build your business. Get as many skills and resources and training from that 9 to 5 that you can to then transfer into your entrepreneurial endeavors. Coupled with, if you're going into real estate, lenders and underwriters like stability. So if you got a 9 to 5, we leveraged our 9 to 5s for 3.5 decades, right?
Mhm.
Then work from 6 to midnight and on weekends to build our real estate portfolio. So stay in there, be patient, be focused, be consistent, be disciplined with that 9 to 5, and let it fuel your business.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm sure that there are many entrepreneurs here who still have found the benefit of working their corporate jobs during the day. Maybe like me, started their business as a side hustle
Sure.
while they were still working in their corporate jobs. And then once they were able to take advantage or leverage that security, I don't know if it's the security or the stability or the offerings that the 9 to 5 offered, in terms of the continuing education and the opportunities for leadership or doing other things that will definitely prepared me and prepare them for business ownership, because there may be some college courses available on when you get your degree, but in terms of being an entrepreneur and making that switch from being an employee to an employer, that's a whole nother ball of wax. Let me tell you. And if you haven't been through it, then it's hard to imagine. But if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And I also encourage creating multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
Creating multiple streams of income so that when you make that transition to whatever your goal is, you've got multiple streams of income coming through.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And somebody told me that you need at least 5 different streams of income just to make it today in this world, like as a regular person. You need 5 different streams of income.
I agree. It really depends on your lifestyle. And when we go back to real estate again, and like I said, I'm in a lot of rooms. There's, a variety of goals as far as how many doors to own, how many properties to own. And it's really a personal preference. So I would say like 45% of rentals in the United States are owned by small landlords who typically own between 1 and 4 units. There are some ambitious young people that I come across. They want to own 100 doors. I want to own 100 doors. And I say it really depends on what your goal and what kind of lifestyle you're trying to support. We have a small but mighty portfolio. Again, we started investing back in the 80s. And our small but mighty portfolio represents the fact that we brought in the right location at the right time for the right price. And our portfolio supports our lifestyle. And so it's like that question you asked me about, a project. It really depends. It really depends on what your goals are and what kind of lifestyle that you're looking to support. I showed a diagram recently about building multiple streams of income and supporting your life with real estate. Buy a house to have the positive cash flow, pay for a car. Buy a house to have the positive cash flow, pay for vacations that you like going on. Buy a house to have the positive cash flow, pay for your children's college education. It's really a mindset about building assets that generate cash flow that we were never taught.
Right.
When we were younger, right? And I also encourage individuals to not buy that first, personal home. I encourage them to buy multifamily, right? If you are young and you're coming out anywhere, you're going to rent an apartment, buy a multifamily unit, a duplex, a triplex, a quad, live in one unit. It's called house hacking, right? And you're creating immediate multiple streams of income with that second unit, that third unit, that fourth unit. Then you leverage that and buy that single family dream home. But at that point, you've got 4 incomes from those 4 units versus just buying that one single family home and then trying to invest.
Right. Oh, that's so smart. I like that, house hacking. And also, Mevermine Collectibles says she totally agrees. A diversified portfolio and even some passive income go a long way. Absolutely. And there is this organization of young people who are in real estate that you mentioned. They have a conference in Atlanta.
Earn Your Leisure.
Earn Your Leisure.
Yes.
Yes. Talk about that a little bit. I know that that's not on none of our questions, but I would love for our audience to know about that organization and how they can get involved.
So financial literacy is critical, right, for us to build wealth. Financial literacy is critical in order for us to build wealth. I am always searching. I am a researcher, and I came across Earn Your Leisure years ago. They are two young men out of New York. One is used to be a teacher, and the other one, I think he's a financial advisor. Anyway, they are young, and they connected with the young population around finance, culture, and investing years ago. I don't know how long they've been around, maybe 5 or 7 years. And I got wind of them. They're all on social media, on the internet, Earn Your Leisure. And I think it was 4 years ago, I went to Atlanta. They have an annual financial literacy. It's more like a concert. Like when I went, it was 13,000 people at that convention center, mostly young people. I was so inspired, so enthralled. They had different personalities, different speakers that come on, and the audience is leaning in, understanding the presentations on real estate, the stock market, structuring finance, and all sorts of topics. I encourage you to research them and lean into them. They're on YouTube. They're everywhere. I was just so impressed with the folks that I saw there. They look like my children. I have three men. My youngest is 37. My oldest is 48. And I would walk up to a young person at that conference and say, "So what are you doing?" And when they rattled off that they had just bought their fourth property, and then doing this and that, and here they're like 27 years old, I would look at them and say, "I'm so proud of you. Just keep going." You get motivated. But that's the environment that Earn Your Leisure presents, educate, and they pulled in so many, impressive people like Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, and Mr. Peebles, which is the biggest, African-American developer in the country. They have created relationships and brought those individuals in to pour into this community of hungry individuals wanting to learn financial literacy.
Wow. I think that is so incredibly amazing. And I am inspired. I've never even been to an event, but just hearing you talk about it made me want to look them up and find out more because, yes, financial literacy is so critical for us. We're the older generation, but especially for the younger generation, because they still got time to build and to make, these incredible investments at such an early age that will impact not just them for the here and now, but for their future generations as well. So they're just it's so smart to surround yourself and be in the room, like you were talking about, be in the room of the people who are like-minded, who will support you and encourage you and give you the tools that you need to be successful on this journey. And so that's not only in real estate, but in business, period, that being in the room matters. And so getting out of the comfort zone and stretching and learning, continuing to learn and continuing to grow in knowledge and wisdom helps us make better decisions, good decisions now and better decisions later.
I agree. And lastly, what I'll add to that experience, and it's ongoing because they have it every year, is it creates a balance to the negative images that are portrayed in the media. Yeah. Conversely, here is an example of positiveness around young people, around culture, around music, around finance. So let's project that out there and create a balance here.
I love that 100%. That is so critical because what so many people see is not that. It's the opposite of that. So yeah, let's create that balance and normalize young Black wealth.
Yes.
How about that? I love that. So we have just a few minutes left in our show today. I can't believe the time has just flown, Kim, just flown. So, as we get ready to wrap up, I have a couple more questions about balancing business and life and
Mhm.
any closing thoughts that you want to share. And you also mentioned something about the tax benefits of owning real estate as well. I want to circle back to that. So, I'll let you pick which one you want to go with as we get ready to wrap up in these last 5 minutes or so.
So sure, the tax benefits are just enormous when you own real estate, right? So the goal is, okay, we have, income. We want to reduce our taxable income. Real estate can help you do that. It's just like having a business. You can deduct everything from all the repairs to the property, any type of supplies you need to purchase to operate your business, depreciation. The key is, though, you got to have systems to keep the books. You got to check your expenses and your income. And that's one of the challenges sometimes with investors that I run into out here, that they're focused on the cash flow, but they're not taking the full deduction in their taxes. They're not doing tax strategies when it comes to even buying a property, selling a property. There's tools out here that can defer your capital gains when you sell a property. It's so much about education, but decreasing your taxable income, real estate is a great tool for that. But you gotta walk the walk, and you gotta do your part as a business owner to be able to utilize all the tax benefits.
That's right. And keeping track of those expenses
Yes,
is key.
yes,
You need a system.
it's critical.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And you said too, I don't want our day to get by without you being able to share a little bit about the young men that you mentor, this organization of young people who get to experience the benefit of your knowledge. That you shared this with me in our very first conversation. Maybe, I'm not sure if you remember it or not. I'm totally putting you on.
Because I talk to a lot of young people. Give me something else I can latch on to.
Oh gosh, they were young men, two young boys, I think, that were really impressive to you from this class that you did.
Okay, so let me give a shout out to an organization based in Philadelphia called By the Hood. Okay, they're two phenomenal friends of mine. They're investors. They are financial gurus, and they have a free summer camp in Philadelphia called By the Hood Youth Financial Camp, I believe it's called. And they bring in young people. They're teaching them about Bitcoin, crypto, real estate, and everything around investing from ages, I think, 6 to 18. I was invited in this summer as a guest speaker, and I'm telling you, I was blown away with the interest, the intrigue, the participation of little 8-year-old kids and up to 18 learning about real estate. That's it. By the Hood. Those are my guys. They're doing phenomenal work. It's free. Youth Financial Literacy Camp in Philadelphia. And it's also online. So it's a hybrid. The kids can be there in person and they can be online. So there's no limitation. They're doing great work. And these two young men, they must have been, I don't know, like 12 and 14. They were brothers. And I'm telling you, they have been coming to the camp for years, I was told. But the teachers were talking about structuring deals and a strategy, and just the responses from these young men that, no, I think I want to be a venture capitalist on this deal. And I think I want to approach it differently. I was sitting back like, I was so proud of y'all. Yeah. Wow. So that's By the Hood, bythehood.com.
So good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love our young people being set up for success, and anyone who has anything to do with that. And so that was one of the things that stuck out to me and was a factor and me even nominating you for the Global 100, just because of the impact that you've had on these lives. But tell us, as we get ready to wrap up, how we can stay in touch with you, become a part of your coaching, get your resources so that we can continue in this mindset and being transformed into doing what we need to do to be better business owners and real estate investors.
Sure. So go to my website at legacyrec.net. There it is on the screen.
I love it. Beautiful.
You can see all of our products under the shop. You can learn more about what we've been doing. And I'm very active on socials, on Instagram. You can find me on legacy, REC_net. And as you can see on the screen, all of our products, I've written 4 books since I fired my 9-to-5 in 2020. No one could have told me I would have done that. But again, I've gone from my career to my calling. And those are all of our bundles, our systems, our leases and documents. And yes, I'm on Facebook as well at kim.babb.7798. So there I am. Yeah, just reach out. I'm excited. I'm currently running a 8-week deep dive cohort on Zoom weekly, where I'm taking a deep dive into various topics around pet policies and lease clauses and everything you need to know. And that's still open, that's still available, and that's on Zoom, so you'll get the recordings. And I'm here for you. I want you to be successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. We appreciate you so much. You were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thank you, Renee.